Welcome everyone to the RRN YouTube series official sign-up video for the first official upcoming season. My name is Zach and I am the official operator of this series. Now, my partner Cody, me and him basically co-operate this series, but this is my NR2003 obviously that is operated on, and I created this channel. So my name is Zach, my main co-partner will be Cody. You'll meet him shortly on in many of our future races, but here we are today at our official sign-up video. Now before I start talking anymore, let me just mention, I had a script earlier so that I knew exactly what to talk about and I didn't forget any points. Yeah, I lost that. So as I go through this video, or at least the part right now before I start just listing off the cars, just bear with me. I might lose my words or something. I'm just kind of talking right now as I go, but there's some stuff I got to get across to you. So here we go, listen up. So if you don't know, you might have an idea if you are here at this video, but this is an RRN YouTube series that is an offline NR2003 series. Now, like I said, you might know what that is. There's many of you that might come here. You might have been in some before if you've watched some before, but it's a pretty popular thing in the NR2003 community on YouTube. Offline YouTube series are where the game does everything for you. You sign up for a driver, and your name goes on whatever car that is. And all you have to do is just watch your races, no driving in person or anything. Sometimes there's confusion with that, so I want to make sure I get that across before you sign up on this video. So now I'm going to explain the rules for signing up. These are very important. Listen up. So when you sign up, you got to go in the comment section, and it's one car per person. Now when I say one car, each number represents one ride. And once whatever number is taken, that ride is closed. Now you'll see there's so many schemes to choose from, and that's just a product of we have so much schemes to choose from today, so everyone has so many options to choose from. However, each number is what represents one ride. There's 42 rides, 42 numbers. Now say, for example, you want to go sign up for the 1 right here. You have the option of any of these schemes as long as the 1 has not already been taken. You got to make sure you look in the comments to make sure the 1's not taken. Now, what I'll do in the comments is I will heart the comments of anyone's sign up once they are officially signed up for it. That's what I'll do to acknowledge the fact that, alright, you're signed up for that. And that will help people see that. So anyways, for example, say you want the number 1 Peace Tea Green Tea car. You have to put a first and last name, whatever first and last name that you want to be on this car for the season. Now I won't be taking very obvious meme name, that's all I'll say, but any first and last name for a car. And only one account, you can't sign up for multiple cars, so whatever accounts I see in the YouTube or the comment section. And yeah, so once you sign up for a number, you can choose from any of the schemes, and then once you sign up for that, that whole ride's closed. So you choose one scheme to use for the whole season, then the rest of the schemes don't matter. It depends on what scheme you choose. So when you sign up, you got to make sure you list your scheme. Now the thing I won't be taking is I really don't want to look at anyone in the comments saying just give me whatever car. I will just ignore people that comment something like that. And if you do everything right in your sign up, but you don't list a scheme, I will work with that. I'll just choose a scheme for you. That's all. I'm trying to forget or remember. If I'm missing anything else, like I said, I lost that script, but if I did, I think I'll just list it in the comments and like pin it or something. But now, basically what we have to do is just get into the signups before I start. You'll see Pontiac is a official manufacturer. Each team is just manufacturers, teams won't really matter. Pontiac is just on the Chevrolet body, so if you see it, it's kind of weird. But this is Pontiac when it says Pontiac, and then we also have Chevrolets themselves too. So it's the 2018 NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series mod, and this car set is from Quicksilver car set that I found on Sim Racing Design. Shout out to Quicksilver for their car set. This car set is a very, very good car set. Most beautiful schemes you'll see that are custom, and it offers so much variety. So here we go. I'm going to list off everything, and you comment in the comments what you want, as I've listed before and mentioned the rules. Here we go. First up, we have the number 1 Pontiac, with sponsors of First Energy, Peace Tea Caddyshack, Peace Tea Green Tea, Peace Tea Razzleberry, Peace Tea Snowberry, Peace Tea Sweet Lemon, and Peace Tea Sweet Tea. Next up, we have the number 2 Chevrolet, sponsored by Alliance Truck Parts, Monster Energy, or Traxxas. Next up, we have the number 4 Chevrolet, sponsored by Astro or Perrier. Next up, we have the number 5 Ford, sponsored by Black & Decker, Porter-Cable, or Stanley. Next up, we have the number 9 Ford, sponsored by AMPM, Dana, or Raytheon. Next up, we have the number 10 Dodge, sponsored by Exide, Mobile One, Norfolk Southern, or Russ Truck Centers. Next up, we have the number 11 Toyota, sponsored by Amazon, Home Depot, Nationwide Insurance, Popeyes, and that's it. Next up, we have the number 14 Pontiac, sponsored by Body Armor, Festo, Freightliner, or Valero. Next up, we have the number 15 Ford, sponsored by AMD, Amsoil, or Carhartt. Next up, we have the number 16 Ford, sponsored by Folgers, or Spotify. Next up, we have the number 17 Pontiac, sponsored by Devil Bliss, Hype Energy, Oculus, and that's it. Next up, number 19 Hitachi Power Tools, which is a Chevrolet, or the Hitachi. Next up, we have a single scheme for number 20 Chevrolet, sponsored by Pepsol. Next up, the number 21 Toyota, sponsored by Enterprise, Oracle, Powermatic, and that's it. Next up, number 27 Dodge, sponsored by Oakley, Panasonic, Pepsi, or PNC Bank. Next up, number 28 Pontiac, sponsored by Comp Cams, U-Haul, or Zell. Next up, the number 29 Toyota, sponsored by Quaker State, Razor, Snap-on, and that's it. Next up, the number 30 Ford, with a bunch of sponsor variants of the Advocare you'll see as I list off. First off, we have Advocare Fruit Punch, Green Apple, Mango Pineapple, Mango Strawberry, regular Advocare, Watermelon, or Budweiser. Next up, single car for the 35 Ford, sponsored by DeWalt. Next up, number 36 Dodge, sponsored by Cooler Master, Office Depot, or Zaxby's. Next up, the number 38 Toyota, sponsored by Bobcat, FVP, McDonald's, STP, or United Reynolds. Next up, the number 39 Toyota, with a bunch of variants of Menards. First up, sponsored by Dirt Devil, FVP, Knopf, Ream, Scott's, or Sylvania. Next up, the number 40 Pontiac, sponsored by Fanatic, HKS Air Filters, Sirius XM, or Von Zipper. Next up, the number 41 AC Delco, which is a Pontiac, also sponsored by Dex Imaging, FedEx, or HKS Coolant. Next up, the number 42 Chevrolet, sponsored by Bauer, or Manitowoc. Next up, the number 44 Chevrolet, sponsored by Adidas, BB&T, or XPO Logistics. Next up, the number 45 Dodge, sponsored by Advanced Auto Parts, Elliott Aviation, Haas Automation, Iron Mountain, Tempmaster, Thermo King, or Winco Foods. Next up, the number 50 Dodge, sponsored by Anchor, Jiffy Lube, Pennzoil, and that's it. Next up, number 52 Ford, sponsored by National Guard, or Skykick. Next up, number 54 Dodge, sponsored by Boost Mobile, Club Car, Ingersoll Rand, Mayflower, Simply Safe, or Signups. Next up, number 55 Toyota, sponsored by Jersey Mike Subs, or Works Engineering. Next up, the number 58 Pontiac, sponsored by Liberty, National, Pengrade Motor, or Phillips. Next up, the number 60 Chevrolet, sponsored by Avis Car Rental, Budget Rent-A-Car, or NTT Data. Next up, the number 62 Ford, sponsored by AAA Insurance, Airbnb, LifeLock, Publix, or Verizon. Single car, next up for the 66 Ford, sponsored by Deca. Next up, the number 70 Toyota, sponsored by Asus, Bass Pro Shops, Castrol, or Wawa. Next up, the number 73 Dodge, sponsored by AKG, Arkham, Harman Carden, JBL.com, Mark Levison, or Stutter. Next up, the number 81 Ford, sponsored by Caffeine-Free Coca-Cola, Cherry Coca-Cola, Regular Coke, Diet Coke, Coca-Cola Life, or Coke Zero Sugar. That's the Coca-Cola ride right there. Next up, number 85 Ford, sponsored by Broadcom, Crutchfield, Hisense, Soldier Strong, or Whataburger. Next up, the number 87 Toyota, sponsored by Albertsons, Element, or Orbitz. Next up, the number 92 Dodge, sponsored by Fastenal, Jack in the Box, or Sapphire. Final car, the number 88 Toyota, sponsored by GoPro, or Nordica. We've made it. A bunch of cars there. Obviously, like I said, we have 150 different schemes across 42 open rides. It's first come, first serve in the comments. So all you need to remember is one account, one driver, or one ride per driver, and you gotta sign up, and you just gotta list the car number and whichever scheme you want. If it had multiple schemes, and you got put in a first name and last name, no matter what it is, as long as it's not an absolute meme name. So we made it. Bit of a long video. Obviously, we got a bunch of cars. So I wish you all luck. First come, first serve. We got much more to come. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining me.